Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Mitch Abel, founder and CEO of Investment Current LLC. After retiring at the age of 62, Mitch realized he hadn't saved enough for retirement and faced the frightening possibility of outliving his savings. Instead of accepting defeat, he immersed himself in learning, investing, and trading, overcoming significant setbacks, including losing $150,000 before rebuilding his portfolio and achieving financial independence. Today, through investment currents, Mitch is helping others develop the knowledge, discipline, patience, and emotional control needed to become confident traders. Mitch, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Joy, thank you so much for having me on your show. And I just feel honored and grateful to be here. Thank you for the wonderful
Wow.
introduction.
All right. Wow. So, when I was reading about trading, I just remembered a friend of mine who is also a trader. And I'm like, oh, I mean, you guys would make a good conversation, right? Is into trading and stuff like that. But yeah, Mitch, I want you to take us back basically to your 20s. What was life like in your 20s
Um,
and what ambitions were driving you?
yeah. So when I was in my 20s, I was in college
Mm,
and I didn't have enough money to go to college. So I had to zip through college. And I
mm,
started when I was 17 and I was done with my master's degree when I just before I turned 21.
mm,
1974. I was 21. Um, I was about to become 21 when I finished my master's degree. So, I mean, in my 20s, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea what I really, well, I did have an idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a social worker. I went through school for social work, became a clinical social worker, worked in that for about, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, got burnt out
mm,
very, very quickly and turned and took those social work skills and imported them into sales. And so now instead of seeing crazy clients, now I was seeing crazy customers.
mm,
And I use
mm,
those interpersonal skills um, to achieve success in my professional career, which was sales. And I was in the telecommunications industry for 40 years. And in October of 2015, I was forced into retirement at age 62, and that's very young to retire these days. I sat on the couch for a month or two, drove myself crazy,
mm,
um, and said, I just need to do something different. And so I started applying to gas stations and convenience stores and different places just to be among people because I miss being with people. And I started going to mastermind groups. And one of the mastermind groups that I went to, I found this guy who said to me, I'd like to teach you how to invest. Really? I always used a broker for that. I didn't,
mm,
but I, so I went over and I started taking his classes. And they were very good classes. They were very good classes, but it was all about value investing at that time. I also looked over my shoulder at the same time and found that I only saved $400,000 after a
mm,
40 year um, 40 years in corporate America, right? Of my
mm,
professional work life. And I thought to myself, well, I could live till 102. That's another
mm,
40 years, you know? with
Right.
with the age going on and on, I mean, with all of us getting older and older and older, right? And I still
Right.
feel like I'm in my 40s, right? Um, but I could live another 40 years, and it's that $400,000 wasn't going to last very long, right? And
Right.
so I started taking his courses, and there was it taught me how to do a fundamental analysis on individual companies that I was interested in purchasing stock in. But from 2015, 2016, and 2017, we were in a bullish market and there were no companies that I was really interested in for sale, right? They didn't meet my
Mm.
criteria to buy them because they weren't, their stock prices were inflated. And so so he taught me something called a cash flow trade, which is a very simple options credit spread trade. And I started doing that. And for 9 months, I did very well. And in fact, I made profit and was building my portfolio until October of 2016. And 16, the market crashed.
Mm.
It crashed. And it took me out of four simultaneous trades and not in a single day. And not only did it did it take all of the money that I had earned over the previous 9 months, it took some of my principal as well. So I
Mm.
said, what's wrong with this picture? So I started looking around at other alternatives. And one of the alternatives that I came across was intraday trading. And I thought this would be great. And so I went and immersed myself in this. And the very first trade that I did, I made $78 in about 3 minutes. And I thought to
Wow.
myself, oh my goodness, this is going to be great. I could do this
Mm.
over and over and over again. And I just, and it's better than lawyers' rates.
Mm.
Right? And I joined his trading room, and it was open from 9:30 in the morning till about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, that was all good, except he really wasn't, and I was taking his classes, so I paid for his classes. Um, and that was all well and good, but he wasn't telling me when he was getting in. He wasn't telling me where his physical targets were. He wasn't telling me what his premium targets were. He wasn't telling me about stop losses. All he would say is, I'm in this trade.
Mm.
And by the time I chased it to get into the trade, he's already taken profits.
Mm.
And so I get into the trade, and what's the market do? Turns against me, and I end
Mm.
up with more losses. Over a 6 month period, I lost $150,000 of my $400,000 portfolio, which is about a third of the entire
Mm.
portfolio, right? So
Right.
I went to my partner, Diana, who is just a really supportive, creative, intelligent, brilliant woman.
Mm.
And she looked me straight in the eye. I had tears in my eyes. I mean, I was just really a wreck. And she looked me straight in the eye and said, "Keep going." So
Mm.
I left his room. I went back to all the education. I would review that education every single night. And the next day I would practice what I learned.
Mm.
And within 6 months, I had my $150,000 back. Within 3 years, I had enough money that I'd never have to worry about money again. Now it's 11 years later, and I've built generational wealth for my grandchildren.
Wow. Ooh, okay. So, I could say, wow, your story is interesting. It's, at the end, it ended well. But let's be realistic here, right? There were times where, especially when you lost $150,000, I mean, I'm not sure some people would have been able to survive it, right?
Yeah.
So I
Well,
believe when, yeah.
yeah. So, when I would get into a trade, when I was losing all that money, my whole body would
Hmm,
shake.
hmm,
I would I would think about, I'm going to get this market back. I would do something called revenge trading. I I would think that there was a trade coming up, and there was really no trade coming up. I mean, I was all over the map, right?
hmm,
And so what I really figured out over that 6 month period is that there are four pillars
hmm,
that I had to pay attention to and incorporate into my lifestyle and my body
hmm,
and my mind. Education was number one. It's the top of
hmm,
the pill. You have to understand what the language of the market is. You have to understand how to do technical chart analysis. You have to
hmm,
understand that there's a war going on between, in every single candle that's being formed, there's a war going on between the buyers and the sellers. You have to
hmm,
understand that every candlestick eventually creates a pattern, and that
hmm,
pattern tells us what to expect going forward. Yeah. And these patterns are called bull flags, bear flags, various types of triangle patterns, rising and falling wedges, head and shoulders patterns, double and triple and quadruple sometimes,
hmm,
tops and bottoms, and then rectangles. And what I've also had to understand is that price action itself is the most important component of all of that. It's the
hmm,
king, and it's the way to interpret price action going up and down and sideways when we can really make money. Um, we have proprietary indicators that were designed, not built by me, but designed by me to put guardrails around my trading activities, which
hmm,
really helped me. And of course, there's much more I could go into education, but I'm not sure that we have time right now. So the next pillar is
hmm,
patience, right?
hmm,
Understanding that winning and losing are part of this game,
hmm,
and learning to read the market language, chart patterns, price action, and indicators all together. Building the discipline to wait for the right trade rather than chasing momentum is extremely important. In fact, new traders are doing the same mistakes that I made when I first started. They
hmm,
haven't got patience to wait, so they're looking to find out, oh, there's a trade, I'm going to jump into it, right? And recognize that the market has three different directions that it moves: up, down, and sideways. We make money going up. We make money coming down. We do not make money going sideways unless we're trading the range of that sideways pattern. But that's very difficult to do and can cause you to lose a lot of money. So I just rather not trade during that time, right? Discipline is all about applying the 10% rule, which
hmm,
is never risk more than 10% of your total portfolio in any single trade.
hmm,
Creating and following a set of personal trading rules and writing as part of a living document a very clear plan. Also, when you're writing this plan, be sure that you are journaling every day so that you can record your emotions, your feelings, whether you won, you lost, what was the reaction and what was the reason why you won or lost.
Mm,
And treating trading as a business, not a pastime or a gamble. And committing patience, I mean, discipline really involves committing to a daily practice because mastery takes 6 months to a year of consistent effort to really master trading.
mm,
And so as a result, when we start working with students, we ask them to consider, and they're all adults, so we have no control over it, but we ask them to consider trading in simulated money in a simulated account using monopoly money so that they can learn how to trade, learn all the methods and the strategies and all of that before they're risking any money, and then slowly transition to using real money and then go on to build a portfolio.
mm,
What I also found, the fourth pillar is emotional control. And I'm talking about managing twin forces of fear and greed that derail most traders.
mm,
I'll tell you that 10% of trading is doing the technical analysis. It's necessary. You have to do it. You have to figure out that.
mm,
But if you don't have patience, discipline, and emotional control, you're going to lose. And so we've had over 250 students come through my program. And what I can tell you is that we've had a 30 to 35% success rate.
mm.
Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Right? That's about 60 students being successful out of 250. Doesn't sound like a lot. But let
Mm,
me use an analogy, if I may. The analogy is that if I were a baseball player and I was going up to home plate and I was swinging at a ball coming at me at 110 miles an hour, and I hit that ball 30% of the time to 35% of the time, every time I got up to that plate to get on base, I'd be the hero of the team. And so what we're doing is we're turning people into their family heroes through this program. Avoiding impulsive decisions driven by dopamine excitement or panic is part of the emotional control that one needs in order to become a successful trader. And working with specialized trading, we work with a guy, he's an affiliate of our program. His name is Randy Howe, and he is a
mm,
doctor of psychology. And he has a program that a lot of my students have gone through, which is that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And he only works with people that are trading
mm,
options, um, trading futures, swing trading, long-term investments, all of it, where he works on these four different pillars with his students, his clients, I should say, because they're not really students, they're more clients at that point. And his name is Randy Howe,
mm,
Randehowell. You should look him up if you're interested in doing this. But he
mm,
won't work with you until you've had a couple of 2 to 3 years of experience trading. And understanding that the technical side of trading is learnable, but self-mastery is really the true competitive edge. And that doesn't only apply to trading. That applies to life in general, whether you're working full-time, part-time, going to working in corporate America, having to deal with bosses you don't like, having to deal with meetings that you don't care for, you know, it's it's all part of life. So what we're defining here is a method to change your life forever for good.
Mm. Wow. Oh, all right. Another thing I would like to ask, right?
Yes.
Because this what I'm talking about young adults here. Many beginners they are they are attracted to trading because they hope to make quick money, honestly. Right? So what
Yeah.
do you think are like some of the biggest misconception people have before they get started?
Yeah. This is not quick, get rich quick
Mm,
by any means. Now you can make money. It's easy to
right.
make money, but how you manage that money is something that needs to be incorporated into a life plan, not get rich quick so I can spend it quickly.
Mm,
I attended a course 25 years ago called Financial Peace University by a guy named Dave Ramsey. Have you ever heard of it?
no, I don't think so.
Yeah. He has something called Financial Peace University.
Mm,
And what he taught me to do was budget my income based on the bills that I had on a monthly basis and take cash from my bank account and actually put it into envelopes that were categorized for different things.
mm,
So rent, mortgages, right? All that sort of stuff,
mm,
card payments, if I had any, cleaning budget, household budget, food budget, um, and any other kind of budget. And when that money was gone from that particular envelope, let's say food budget, we didn't have any more money to spend on food.
mm,
So we had to go eat oatmeal, which was always up in the cabinet, right?
right.
And getting out of debt, debt kills, debt really kills
Mm,
us. Putting everything on a credit card and then paying hundreds and thousands of dollars in interest kills us. The only
mm,
one getting rich is the bank at that point because you're paying so much money for um in interest that you never can get ahead. So the first thing that young people should do is if they are in debt, get out of debt. Manage your
mm,
money to get out of debt. If you don't have any debt, manage your money so that you stay out of debt.
mm. Wow. Manage your money to stay out of debt. Very
Yeah,
important, right? So
yeah,
I'd like to ask through, investment current, right? You've helped hundreds of students become more confident traders. So what habits have you seen that, separates those who succeed from those who give up?
yeah.
Mm,
The ones that succeed are the ones that are mastering the four disciplines
mm,
and four pillars: education, patience, discipline, and emotion.
mm,
The ones that fail are the ones that actually fail at controlling and managing a money mindset that involve all four pillars. And they will fail because they don't have the patience to work through all the different things that you need to learn. And we have seen a lot of people come and go as a response as a response to not managing those four pillars. I'm sorry to say, because I
mm,
started this program with one I started this company with one mission involved and
mm,
vision in
mm,
sight, and that was to change one person's life at a time.
mm,
Not groups, not individuals, yeah, individuals one at a time. Now,
mm,
the way that I do that is I have a live trading room. And in that live trading room, I'm actually calling out the trades, calling out the targets, calling out the entry areas, calling out the stop loss areas, right?
mm,
I have four different courses that people purchase from me. They are all on what we call a learning management system so that they can learn at their own pace. Um, each individual class within that broader area of the course has a video, key takeaways, written out key takeaways from that video, a quiz, and homework to do, followed up
mm,
with what I call a faculty office hour, which means that they get to on a weekly basis, they have an appointment with me and they're able to ask any questions that they want to ask regarding that individual course.
mm. Wow. Ooh, all right. And when you talk about this key, things to do, right? They involve one, education,
Yeah.
patience, discipline, right, and emotional control, right? I
Yes.
took note of that. So
Yes.
yes, thank you, Mitch. And I would like for us to talk about your partner, right? I want to say shout out to her, Diana, right? So Diana
Yes.
encouraged you to, keep going through during one of the lowest points in your journey. So how important has having the right people around you been to your success?
Yeah. So if you don't have people that are supporting you, you're
Mm,
the, unless you throw off what they're saying, you two are going to fail.
mm,
It's extremely important. I mean, Diana has been the most supportive, intelligent, brilliant woman in my entire life of being me,
mm,
right? And
mm,
she is creative. She uh, she she has her own business as well. She builds websites for small to medium-sized companies. She also hand sews and produces women's handbags and different things that she sews um, and sells those as well. Yeah.
mm,
So she's a bit of an entrepreneur herself. She's been building websites, self-taught, by the way, building all the code, learning all the code and interpreting the code and creating the code for individual websites for small to medium-sized businesses since 1995, the Stone
mm.
Ages.
Right, just donation. All right, okay. So yes, thank you, Mitch. This has been amazing. I've learned a whole lot. And finally, I just want you to talk to someone out there, right? Because the sole purpose of my podcast is to give advice to the young ones. So for young adults in their 20s who want to build long-term wealth, what financial habits should they begin developing today?
The first thing is learn how to budget.
Mm,
I use a program called Quicken. Are you familiar with Quicken?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
Every single transaction that I make, I
mm,
record in Quicken.
mm,
And I can tell you since 1993, when I first started using Quicken, I can tell you exactly what I spent money on to the penny
mm,
and where
yeah.
I needed to I needed to stop spending money and learn how to budget So the first thing that I would tell every single young person out there, budget whatever money you have.
Mm,
And don't forget to save a portion of it, no matter how small. Don't forget to set aside a portion of it that you will not touch, right? For
mm.
the long
Right.
term, unless you have an emergency. And by the way, buying pizza is not an emergency. I have I had 5 children between Diana and I. We had 5 children, and I gave one of them a credit card when they decided to go off to college and said, use this for emergencies. Well, I'd get the bill because, the bills were coming to me and I found pizza on there. And I'd call her up and say, is pizza really an emergency expense? And
Mm.
she said, no, no, it's not an emergency expense. I said, well, why are you using the credit card for it then? Well, because you're paying for it. I said, well, if you'd like me to take away the credit card, I will.
Mm,
And then you'll have to figure out how you're going to do what you're going to do for emergency, real emergencies, going to the hospital, going to a doctor, you know, getting your car fixed because you have to get around town. That's an emergency. Buying pizza is not an emergency. Got it, Dad. Got it, Dad. And
right.
from that point forward, she didn't do she didn't use the credit card for anything but emergencies. But the more people can learn how to do that successfully, the happier they're going to be in the long run. I would
Mm,
also say look up Financial Peace University
mm,
with Dave Ramsey and take his course. Um, I would say come to my courses and work with me for a while. You know, I drive, I refuse to buy a new vehicle. I drive a 25-year-old truck. Now, I can afford to go out and I can write a check for the new
mm,
vehicle. But why would I want to do that when I have a perfectly good vehicle to take me from point A to point B?
mm,
Why would I ever want to buy a new vehicle if I have one that's already paid off? And
mm,
if you have student debt, if you have loan debt, if you have car debt, if you have any kind of debt, credit card debt, whatever you have, learn how to categorize that and learn how to pay off the low balances first and then tear up the credit card. Pay off the
mm,
next one, tear up the credit card. Sounds scary, right? Oh my
mm,
goodness, not going to be able to spend money. You'll have more money at the end of the day, at the end of the
mm,
month, than you've ever had in your life because you've accomplished getting out of debt.
mm.
And that's what I would say to young people.
Wow. All right. So, like you said, learn how to budget. Very important, right? And also try to get out of debt, right? Even if it's slowly, gradually you see that you finally cleared off your debt, right? And another thing, follow or look up Financial Peace University. Very
Yep,
important, right? Financial Peace University.
absolutely. And
Absolutely.
if you want to learn how to trade, come talk to me. So there are different
Exactly.
ways to reach me.
Mm,
Let me just share that in the chat box if you and then you can put it into the show notes if you'd like. Would that be okay?
okay. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I would
Let me
also love for you to, say it out for those who want to just listen and then go search it out themselves.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
So you can reach me at Mitch at investmentcurrent.com. Let me just type that in.
mm,
And you can visit my website at investmentcurrent.com. investmentcurrent, current as in a river of money.
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
And if you want to have a one-on-one session with me, please use my calendar link and schedule a 30-minute appointment with me.
Mm, wow.
And
All
that's
right.
and that's at candidly.com/ Mitch Abel, all one word, Mitchabel 91. And
Mm,
you'll be able to set up an individual appointment with me, which I'm happy to have a meeting with you if you're interested in doing this.
wow. Ooh, all right. So thank you, Mitch. This has
You're
been
welcome.
absolutely amazing. And personally, like I said, I'm gonna put the links in the show notes so it's easily accessible for listeners, right? And yes, to my listeners, I want to say thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this, and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episode. Once again, thank you, Mitch. Do you have a wonderful day ahead of you?
Thank you. Thank you so very much for your time, Joy. It's been just lovely speaking with you.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. And yes, shout out to everyone. And yeah, take care.
Thank you.